very hot in here. It's very hot in here. You can't have a shirt on, but that's not the point. The point is, guys, now we all know Wode Maya, and this is what makes the difference between someone like Wode Maya and someone like Marwa. Now, while Marwa is busy fighting with the villagers, Wode Maya is making big moves. Right now, as we are speaking, Marwa is supposed to be in boardrooms, signing contracts and signing everything that he needs to sign so that he can become successful in life. Everything he wants to have and everything he's fighting to have, he would have had it without asking for donations. And I have no shame saying that, because indeed, donations come through him. And he has built a villa. I don't believe that villa was built with donations, but I believe there are some aspects of donations that has helped him in his journey to become successful. That's not the point though. Compare Marwa and Wode Maya, two individuals who right now would have been flying high the African flag and the African reputation to the world. Now what Marwa is doing is putting Africa back to the dirt. Wode Maya is trying his best to portray Africa in a very positive perspective. And then Marwa is trying to portray Africa as this primitive group of people who do not even have the knowledge and the wisdom to handle issues. What we witnessed yesterday was a guy with a lot of following trying to incite another villager, a brother versus a brother. He wants a brother to fight a brother. And I agree, at some point, David Jr., his younger brother, at some point he complained and said, the Marwa you people know is not the Marwa I know. He is pathetic. He is pathetic. I used to watch individuals people complain about Marwa, and I would be like, you guys are just jealous. I mean, I see it. You're just hateful because he's been very successful. The guy has a villa and a helipad. He has horses. He has a Land Cruiser and a Mercedes Benz and a Mzungu wife and a good looking kid. I used to think these guys are hating on Marwa. Turns out, man, the more you start listening to these reactors, the more you get knowledge and you start understanding that they're not hating actually. They're actually speaking the truth. Like I said in the other video, there's a facade that Marwa has put in a way that majority of his followers will never ever question. Even when he's making mistakes, they do not question that. All they see is a successful guy being fought by the villagers, people who introduced YouTube towards. But is that the truth? That's not the truth. That's not the reality. The reality is Marwa is becoming nuts. He's going nuts. As we are speaking, the way he's doing things is mere stupidity. And that's why I'm bringing in somebody like Wode Maya. I mean, you look at Wode Maya and the moves he's making. Right now, as we are speaking, I believe Wode Maya is not actually in Ghana. He's not in Ghana with his wife. He is probably in a different country doing something big, because Wode Maya is a brand. Forget about Marwa, who was saying, hey, Gentu, don't record me. I'm a big person here. Big person where? Big person where? Exactly. In that village? Honestly, I would never want to become a big person in that village. That's not a flex, that's stupidity. Foolishness of the highest order. Imagine a guy like Marwa with a degree, with having, what was the point of traveling in all those countries if there's nothing you learned? What was the point of traveling in all those countries if there is absolutely nothing that you learned having traveled in all those countries? Sometimes you kind of make people feel good for some of the deals you went through, like when you're in Dominican Republic. You were beaten up, you were roughed up by the policemen in that country, and you started bleeding because you spit saliva, bloody saliva on your arm. Sometimes I kind of feel like you deserve to be given a proper beating somehow, because the reality checks you've been getting lately, you're not learning anything from them. And guys, Listen to me. Every person was at a point. I love using the biblical stories. Every person, every big person in the Bible was at some point humbled by God, because God does not work with people who are full of pride. And I am Marwa is full of pride as we are speaking right now. Whether you like what I'm saying or not, I don't give a hoot, because I'm talking the truth. I'm being factual here. The guy has lost his mind. The guy has lost his mind. Do you imagine somebody like Wode Maya doing what Ayamaro is doing? Let's be real. Think about it. Would Wode Maya do what Ayamaro is doing? As big as he has become. People learn responsibility. People learn how to become responsible. With much power, whenever you are given so much power, a lot is expected from you. And that's what one of the lessons that Ayamaro is not willing to learn. That he has a lot of power, but he does not how to dissipate that power positively, because he would have been using that power to influence the village positively. That way he would have attracted a lot of people towards himself, and people who would be working as a team. But Ayamaro wants to be the king of that village no matter what. That's why he has the cojones and the audacity to call the police using the phone, so that somebody else in the village could be arrested. And the only person he has a fight with is Gintu. Why? Because Gintu doesn't give an F about who Ayamaro is. He doesn't care. Ayamaro, you think you're big, it's you who thinks you're big. People like Gintu doesn't care. That's why he tell you F off. Twice. He called you off in your face. For you had to call the police in his face. All because you're big. Is that, listen guys, let's ask each other questions. If we are thinking about black people everywhere we go, is that the way black people are supposed to solve problems? Is that the way we are supposed to solve problems? Is that the way black people are supposed to solve problems? Because majority of the people, and if you are supporting Ayamaro at this point, you're being stupid and foolish. Yes, I said it. Stupid and foolish. You need to call him out for some of the things he's doing. For him, it's not illegal for him to go farm, recording other farms, showing people on camera that this guy, I don't like him. Look at his farm. His maize did not mature, and I'm glad because his maize did not mature because he's my enemy. For him, it's okay to go recording other people's land. For him, it's very okay to go and recording other people's kids and children. For him, it's okay to go recording other people's bedrooms. It's okay for calling a kid a thief and then use that kid to get donations. You remember that Brian story issue where he built Gokos? At least with Goko benefited at the end of the day, but Brian was a kid. You guys, majority of Ayamaro's followers and minions, you call yourself learned and educated, right? Since when? Which country? Tell me. Because you're behaving like pedophiles. You're behaving like Epstein at this point. Tell me, when did it come right that even when Ayamaro is abusing kids' rights, even when Ayamaro is recording kids without their consent or the consent of their parents, it's still okay? Here we have to differentiate between kids and adults. It becomes okay for Ayamaro. He's exempted from all that nonsense. He has the privilege to do whatever he wants within that village. Right? Right. And no one should question him. It's very okay for him to do everything he wants, and no one should question him. He's not accountable for anything. He's not responsible for anything. But when other people do the things he's doing, it becomes an issue. Since when, pedophiles? Since when? Marwa's minions behave like pedophiles. They behave like this woman in US. She was being questioned. And even though we saw some of the survivors, some of the victims from the Epstein Island, even though the victims were, and funny enough, she is a woman. I don't know whether they call her DOJ, DOJ or something like that. You're gonna have to go and check. Even when the survivors and the victims of sexual trafficking were there, that woman, she did not have any empathy towards those women. So when I look at someone like Ayamaro and I imagine how he has recorded kids and even told stories about kids without the consent of their parents, and yet people are still supporting him on that. That's diabolical. That's crazy. That's crazy. We are learned. Sometimes I kind of think like the people who support him kind of feel like here in Africa we are not learned. We've not been to school, we've not been exposed. Just because I've not traveled does not mean I do not have the cognitive capacity to decode messages and decode everything that I watch and be logical and pragmatic about how I see things and how I evaluate things, how I see problems and how I identify ways of finding solutions. Just because I'm not well traveled does not mean that I cannot solve a problem when I see one. Because look at it, the things that were happening yesterday are things that could have been solved with just one sitting. Muremi and Ernesto are brothers. They are not supposed to be fighting. And why are they fighting? Because of land. Why though? Because of Marwa. Marwa wants a road. His way. He doesn't want to use law. There's a constitution. When it comes to land disputes, there's a law that is used in the country. There are policies, there are standards which should be followed when it comes to land laws. It does not necessarily mean that just because I sat down with Moremi's father and all that he can have that land the way he want to have it. No, if that is somebody else's property and there is a complaint from one kid, by the way, when it comes to land issues, if I have 4 brothers and one of the brother decides no, that's not the way, then that land cannot be used for any other purpose if there's a dispute. If there is a dispute, and if one of the brothers, like now the way Ernesto was raising an issue, until that matter is resolved by the court of law, then Ayamaro has no business, Moremi has no business. As long as one of the persons, one of the parties is not yet satisfied with what's going on about the land and the division and all those things, then Ayamaro has no business using that road as if it's his. Ernesto has all the rights to block that road. That's the way it is in the Kenyan law. If one party is not satisfied with how things were carried out, then that dispute, and it can be carried on for years. Land disputes in Kenya is not an easy thing to deal with the way Ayamaro thinks it is easy. The things he brings on camera, you kind of feel like, he's correct. He has been to all those countries. That's a facade. Let him follow the law. We see. Let him follow the law. Let the law be followed. And we normally say we are not against him owning property. We are not against him becoming rich. I want to see black people become so rich and so wealthy. But I do not want rich, black, and wealthy black men who are foolish. Why do you think a lot of rich black men become rich? What happens next? Jail, 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 jail. NFL players, they become rich once they retire. 3, 4, 5 years down the line, broke. Why? Because they're always using another man's system. Marwa, you're using a system that is not going to sustain you for the longest time, and you become so foolish. Look at your brother Wode Maya. Look at them at the level he has grown. Wode Maya has grown to a different level. You will never get even closer to him. You can't. In April, you'll be going to South Africa and all of the Madagascar and the rest as a passport, bro. Good luck to you. I wish you all the best. But you're never going to get to the level Wode Maya has been. You will never come close to where Wode Maya has been. And even when Wode Maya has been criticized, he takes criticism with grace because he understands with much power, with much response. When you have so much power, a lot of responsibility is expected in return. And that's one of the things that you've been losing on, I am Marwa. You have so much responsibility. At this point, people should be coming to you to find solutions. But you have become the problem. You're the core root of all the problems now in that village. And don't say people are being jealous. They're not being jealous. They're not being jealous. They're fighting for what is rightfully theirs. Ernesto is fighting for what is rightfully his. He's an heir. He should have an inheritance. Have you seen Wode Maya fighting with the villagers? I don't even know his village. He may have posted 1 or 2, 3 videos showing where his father's land is. But apart from that, we don't see him even investing in that village. And someone wise should have told you, once you started accumulating money, you shouldn't have gone back to your village. You should have come out of your village. Ask all the hip-hop artists. The moment they start making money, they leave their hood. They leave their hood. You refuse to leave your hood? See, there's an artist called Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle, the moment he started becoming successful, he didn't want to leave his hood. He wanted to develop his hood. But the moment you do that, and everybody else is not growing, guess what happens to you? Some jealous elements will come after you. Considering especially that Nipsey Hussle was affiliated with a gang initially. So once he left the gang kind of feels, where is our loyalty? You owe us something. And anyway, my point is Nipsey Hussle was killed. In future, I am Marwa. I can guarantee you, by the way things are and the way things are looking right now, in future, you don't have a good life in that village. You have created so many enemies, not only in that village, but even people who came to your place looking for employment. People in other parts of the world are looking at you as an idiot. There are so many enemies. So if an attack comes to you, you will not even know which enemy attacked me. And another fun fact is, you are goons. The last time I checked, Ankomo was arrested because of you. And he learned a huge lesson. He's not willing to go that road anymore. He doesn't want to die for you because you're not going to die for him. The last time I checked, there's a time you really called him a scammer. Don't think that Ankomo is a fool as well. He's also smart. He knows what he's doing. And sooner or later, he's also going to leave the camp. If your power comes from the comment section, well, there's a rude surprise to you. What if that YouTube channel is deleted? What if you lose that YouTube channel for good? Where is your power? You'll realize how powerless you become. If I were you, I would be coordinating effectively with my fellow villagers instead of fighting with them. You understand? I wouldn't be fighting with fellow villagers. I'll be trying as much to become part of the ecosystem within the village. Be like Wode Maya. Right now, you need to be watching Wode Maya and see them. Look at the moves he's making. Right now, I am Marwa. You're supposed to be in boardrooms. You're supposed to be interacting with politicians. You're supposed to be interacting with big stars. I am Marwa. You're supposed to be. We should have a segment in BET Awards where we are also looking at Africa and the biggest YouTuber in Africa right now. When Actual Speed came, I mean, BET should consider and looking into some of the things, not just artists, because we are looking at content in general. Music is content, acting is content, and YouTube is content. Right now, you should be one of the people listed on BET Awards. You should have grown so big, so big. You don't even understand this. You don't even see it. Do you see the levels Trevor Noah came from? All the way from South Africa as a young comedian to become a show host of one of the biggest TV stations in the United States and retiring. And now he was invited to go and host the I don't recall the name of that awards, but he was invited to do that. Those are the levels. The people who support Marwa, you are the people who limit him from him achieving his full potential. His potential is not in the village. He can have a ranch where he doesn't even need to be there, and it works effectively. If we're talking about power, his power is not him walking with the camera anywhere you want to walk with. No, his power should have been so big that he can even intervene in some things within the country. He can even intervene in some things within Africa. He can be collaborating with big other people in Africa. We've seen Akon, what he was doing in Senegal. We've seen Wode Maya with what he's doing. Marwa, at this time, you could have become that big, but now because you don't use your brain, because some of your subscribers don't have a brain, they mislead you and you allow yourself to be misled, you can never grow beyond the village mentality. And that's the poverty mentality you're talking about. You are the one who has the poverty mentality. Come for me. Come for me if you want to come for me. I don't care. I'm being very factual here. Marwa could have grown big. He could have been representing Kenya to the world. But right now, whatever he's doing, he's making Africans look like idiots. We look like we are fools here. It's like we don't think. Well, he's making us look like we are so primitive. All we think about is fighting. When you think about the fight between Muremi and his bro, man, that's not the way things are supposed to be. Marwa as a man, I feel embarrassed for you. And you need people like me who are going to tell you the truth that is going to hurt. Whether I am labeled as a reactor, I don't care. The fact remains, Marwa, you are operating on a very low vibration. You should haven't been operating on that vibration. You're supposed to be up there, not down here. Okay? You're not supposed to be. Man, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Brother, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Now you're even fighting poor Moses. Poor Moses, a very young boy, a 4-year-old kid. You're even fighting him. And I have receipts to show that you're also fighting poor Moses, a very young kid. You can't forgive even young kid because you don't forgive. Hello? Marwa doesn't forgive anybody. So you think he's going to forgive young Moses? And have you seen guys, young Moses, being given gifts lately? Have you? And you're not about to even see that happen. You can't. Because all he thinks about is himself. I used to like the guy. I used to love how he's doing things. I used to love the way he motivates people, like you can come from nothing and become somebody. But right now, it's like the only person who is supposed to come from something and become somebody is him. Nope, and his family. Nobody else should come from nothing. When he sees other people becoming successful, all this is because of YouTube. All this is because of it's because of God's grace. At some point, God used you. I am Marwa. But just because God is using you, God doesn't use people who are proud. God hates pride. And that's one thing that's going to put you down. Trust you. Watch your steps and watch yourself falling down because of that pride. And unless you deal with that pride, you ain't going anywhere anymore. You ain't going anywhere, bro. I'm not going to tell you to F off. I don't use the F bombs. I'm not going to. But be very careful what you're doing and how you're doing things. Look at Wode Maya. But your pride can't allow you to see beyond that. All the best, I am Marwa. All the best. And all the best to the people who love you. But for the people who love you and don't want to be corrected, them and pedophiles are just the same thing.